Shawn.
Mike?
What is this, a crossover episode? Yowza, yowza, bobowza. Yay, you did it right.
I did
Hello,
it right.
everybody. Welcome to What Is This, a Crossover episode, the Bojack Horseman podcast, which is like, a horseman is like a horseman, but they don't have money, which is not Bojack.
Man,
so,
that sucks.
Yeah, I know. It's terrible. I'm Mike, and you're Shawn, and we're the Squid Boys.
We're the Squid Pro Quo squad.
Squid guys. We're Squid men.
Gonboos.
But this podcast is about Bojack Horseman, the TV show, and we are on episode 5 of season 2, titled "Chickens."
Yeah. Oh, yep. It's about chickens, all right.
It's about chickens, all right. Before we get into that, though, Shawn, how are you, dude?
Dude, I'm doing all right. I was I'm doing great, and then I realized I would be lying. So. I don't want to lie to the. Well, you know, you know, the school and podcasts and
podcasts are terrible.
It's just oh God, I mean, tell me about it. Fucking
They're
hate
awful.
it, you know. But
They're
I'm
awful.
trapped. Can't escape.
You know what else is awful? July 17th, 2015, Shawn. It was an awful
2 days
day.
before my birthday.
2 days before your birthday. It's the day this episode released, and we have to talk about it.
That's true. We do.
A terrible bit that I set up.
Because you locked yourself into this.
Let
me
just get the really shitty ones out of the way. Suicide bomber killed 120. ISIS claims responsibility. Jules Bianchi, a French auto racer, died from his accident during the Japanese F1 GP at 25 years old. Those are the two most awful things. Owen Chadwick, English historian, priest, and university chancellor, dies at 99. He lived a full life, I'm assuming. So, you know,
dude,
sad but good.
But also, it goes from like sad but good all the way back around to sad. Could it make it to 100?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Kind of a skill issue.
A bit of a skill issue. Scientists solved mystery of sleeping sickness in 2 villages in northern Kazakhstan.
Oh, yeah.
Uranium mining had caused the increase in carbon monoxide. That makes sense.
Yeah.
The number 1 song in America was See You Again, Wiz Khalifa featuring Charlie Puth.
Yeah.
And the number 1 song in the UK was Black Magic by Little Mix. Still don't know what that song is.
Still don't know. We'll find out by the end.
We will eventually. It was 7 years, 7 months, and 4 days ago. That one changes every time, by the way, because we get farther away from it. That's how time works. And then,
that is how time works.
Finally, kind of relevant to when we're recording this, Marvel's Ant-Man starring Paul Rudd as the titular character is released.
That's true. That is relevant.
And Quantumania just came out last week, right? I still haven't seen it. Tara and I are going to see it tonight.
Oh, I'm excited to hear what you think.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to like it because the psychopathic people in my life, you and Tyler, don't like it. And the normal people, Jason and Fabio, liked it. So that means I'm probably going to like it.
Can I be really clear about this? I don't...
Let me be clear.
Let me be clear. I do not like, you say that I don't... The way you phrase that makes it sound like I really don't like this movie. I thought the movie was fine. I thought it was whatever. Like I disliked the movie to the same extent that I disliked Love and Thunder, which is that I still had an okay time. I had an okay time with it, but like it wasn't, you know, the greatest thing that I'd seen from Marvel, you know? It was whatever. It's like a C. Okay? So I want to make that clear because I feel like there's a rhetoric going around
anything
right now.
under a B is terrible, and Shawn hated it. So
I feel like you know here's my concern, Mike.
Okay.
My concern is that because Marvel has been putting out kind of C's, and I've been saying that they're C's, the whole Shawn hates everything is going to return, and I escaped from that.
I don't know if you did.
I did. Well, I escaped from it for a time, but it feels like it's coming back because there's been a couple Marvel things that I haven't enjoyed.
You didn't like Doctor Strange. You didn't like Love and Thunder. You didn't like Ant-Man.
But do not put those things on the same level. Like, me not liking Doctor Strange is not the same as how I felt about Love and Thunder and Ant-Man.
Doctor Strange is a good movie.
Strange.
It's a good
hate
movie.
That movie.
It's a good movie, and you're insane. Anyway,
regardless, point
Shawn
being,
hates everything.
I
TM.
don't. No, God damn it. I can't escape.
I'm gonna make a T-shirt. It's gonna be our only. What is this? A crossover episode merch? It's just gonna say Shawn hates everything. TM.
I mean, I have disliked a couple episodes of this show that you've gotten on me for. You say I don't enjoy having fun. You know?
When did I say that?
I think it was in a stream. You said I don't like to laugh.
If it didn't happen on the podcast, then I don't.
It doesn't really matter. Yeah,
right.
It's not canon.
It's not canon. It's like Star Wars.
It's like Turi. Turi?
I'm sorry.
Anyways, yeah, the world ends with you. Anyway, it's not canon. Get it? I made it. Get it?
I don't
get it.
No, I don't get it. Anyway,
well,
let's talk about
when this
chickens.
episode aired. I have to put my cat out of the room really quick. So tell him when it aired.
I already did that.
Fuck you! Tell him again.
We already did that. This episode aired July 17th, 2015. Like what? It got a 7.8 on IMDb. Here's the blurb. Todd tries to save a chicken from the slaughterhouse while Bojack and Kelsey are allowed some bonding time. I don't have anything else to say to introduce the episode because normally I go, hey, Shawn, what'd you think of this episode? But he's letting his cat out. So now I have to sit here and I could just be in silence and edit it out, but instead I decided to just talk and talk and talk. Anyway, Shawn's back. Shawn, what did you think of this episode, Chickens?
You know, I liked this episode more than you did, I think. Like, we talked a little bit before we started recording about some of the problems the episode has that I agree with you on. But it was kind of a joke episode, right? And the bits that I liked worked enough where I wasn't like waiting for it to end, you know?
Yeah. No. And similar to the way you feel about Ant-Man, I don't hate this episode.
Yes, he admitted it. He admitted it.
I'm just saying there are better episodes out there, and I think the message of this episode is a bit too heavy-handed for me.
It's definitely heavy-handed.
It's like, we get it. Like, fucking slaughterhouses are inhumane. Like, we understand. You know what I mean? Like, people that eat meat regularly, like myself, we know. We just don't care.
Fuck that chicken, dude.
Steak is too fucking good for me to give a shit about this. Chicken, delicious.
Yeah.
Beef, yes.
Yeah.
Other turkey, sure. Turkey's okay. I can do without turkey.
Yeah, I'm not big on turkey either.
If they said, "Hey, we want to treat turkeys better," I'm on board.
but not any of the other animals.
Chicken, beef, no way.
So what I do like about this episode is, while the messaging, is really heavy-handed, and it's kind of something that we've seen a lot of, I like the way that they approach it from this world where the we have these anthropomorphic people living in it. So I think that adds a certain like charm to it that doesn't exist in most areas where they tell the story. Right. And there's a twist on it towards the end that I feel like doesn't really get acknowledged a bunch that I did really appreciate.
Okay, fair enough. And I'm being a little overly harsh just because I think I've just been tainted by like different like activists and stuff that talk about this stuff all the time. Like fucking Morrissey of the Smiths is just an insufferable cunt about like meat, and like there's so many people, and it's just like we get it, you know. But you are right that this provides a different kind of twist to it because it does answer a question that I think when this show first started, a lot of people had is wait. This is just our world, but there are animal people. How do they handle like people eating chicken and because they've done a couple of gags with it where like the cow waitress will bring out a steak, and the guy's like sorry, So this is kind of like hey, setting up the lore of how that works.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about the episode, but actually, as I'm thinking about this, I think I interpret some of this differently than you do.
Okay, I think I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah,
they also take the piss out of the people that are like that.
Yeah,
I do understand that because at the end shot especially says, "Hey, we changed things, we made things for the better," and then it says 6 billion served on the chicken for days.
Exactly.
So no, I do understand that they're taking the piss out of both sides. It's just
the messaging is still something that we've heard for. Like,
right.
Especially in the 10 years since this came out or whatever. Like, it's only become more and more and more. You know, so it's definitely something that, like, every time you see more of it, you're like, we get it.
Right,
okay.
Right, for sure. And again, I don't hate this episode. That's just my criticism of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of the bits are funny. I like Becca. I think the the different bits, the book back and the Bic pen and those different bits are funny. I think I honestly. It's funny that's my criticism about, like, the message, where I hate the Bojack storyline in this episode more than I hate the chicken one.
Yeah, the Bojack storyline in this,
and it's barely a storyline, right?
Yeah.
It's just he wants Kelsey to like him, because he has this thing where he wants authority figures to recognize him and give him value, and he pretty much says that at one point. But anyway, we're getting real deep in the episode.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so we open up with a Chicken for Days commercial, which is batshit crazy. Chicken for Days, and it's like the kid's like, I don't want to do my homework. I just want to eat chicken for days. And it's like, what the fuck is this commercial? But it's like KFC meets, like, a Mountain Dew commercial from the 90s.
Yeah, I wrote down, what the fuck is this chicken shit? Because it just kept going.
Yeah. But then it cuts
like,
to shit, I don't remember the name of the other company, but they're the people that chickens know chickens, and we treat chickens good here, brother. So we get the two different commercials,
and
then it's revealed to us diegetically that Bojack is watching this on his tablet, and he says, why do they always put the skip ad towards the end? Now I'm invested in the ad. And then Diane goes, Bojack, you're driving. He goes, oh. And he causes a fender bender that releases one of these crazed Chicken for Days chickens who are just pumped up with hormones and steroids, and you know, they try to dehumanize the chickens so they don't feel as bad about eating them. And they kind of go over that in the why there's chickens that are like friends and chickens that are food.
Yeah,
and it's how they treat them from birth, right?
Yeah,
and it's pretty fucked up.
But you're driving a car right now and then panning out.
Yeah, it was pretty
really
funny. Yeah, and the fact that he's the one that caused everything.
Yeah,
classic. Bojack.
Yeah, I was gonna say classic Bojack fashion.
Yep,
this is all his fault.
Intro plays, and we meet Kelsey's daughter, Irving, who has a gender neutral name. And she's voiced by Amy Schumer, everybody's favorite female comedian. Everybody loves her. No one dislikes her. Would you like to say
what you were saying before we started?
No, I love Amy Schumer. I think she's really funny.
Yeah.
I think she's hilarious. No, I don't. But I get it. You know what I mean? It's not everything's for me.
And at this time, she was pretty huge too.
Yes, at the time she was. I don't think people disliked her. At the time,
at this point, people don't really like she's not a big name anymore, really. But
yeah, she's kind of an afterthought.
At the point this had come out, this was a pretty big deal.
Yeah, Diane is in charge of babysitting Irving because it was bring your daughter to work day. Now she's empowered. Now I need you to remove my daughter from work day. And Diane, the Diane's part of this episode is all about, again, which is a general theme with Diane. Her life is not what she wants it to be, and maybe in like an unrealistic fashion, right? It's like she wants to be this cool, world-changing person, and I don't know that that's always attainable for her. But Irving really makes her feel like she's not, right?
I think I really nailed the Britta comparison in Community early on. Before, like, because this is a pretty drastic step that we go through this episode for Diane. This is different than like what we've seen from her in the past, but it's definitely something that I thought was kind of simmering in her personality behind everything else.
And we're gonna see more of that as the show goes on for sure. Bojack calls Princess Carolyn to talk, basically to present his problem of the episode, which is he doesn't think Kelsey likes him, and he wants to spend some one-on-one time with her. And the only reason I really mentioned this bit is because Princess Carolyn goes, "What now, Bojack? I meant my dumb niece's wedding." "Oh, not you, sweetie, a different dumb niece." And then at the end of the conversation, it pans out to reveal they are just standing there waiting to take photos on Princess Carolyn.
Yeah.
And so she said that like it wasn't like it was like overheard. She just said that like dumb niece right in the vicinity of her dumb niece.
The characters of this show are not good people.
No.
I really like this conversation. I kind of like this conversation between Bojack and Carolyn. Like we were talking about how like the kind of Todd and the chicken plot of this episode is really on the nose. The Bojack plot of this episode is extremely on the nose as well, in a way that feels even more on the nose than it normally is. Not in the way that like I disliked, but
it almost seems intentional, right?
Yeah, where like immediately Princess Carolyn is like, Bojack, you only want her to like you because she's cold and distant. You push people away that love you. And which is the main thesis of the episode right out there, right at the beginning. Like, and
when he responds, he responds with, "No, I don't. You're stupid. Shut up, stupid. Shut up, Todd." And Todd's not even in the vicinity. But we get that, and then we get what Bojack's gonna do, and then we cut to the Todd of the episode where it's time for a meeting with PB Living. But
when was the last time we saw that? Have we seen that this season yet? I feel like
I don't think so, because the only other time they've mentioned it was during the Disneyland episode.
Yeah.
Where Mr. Peanut Butter was like, "Hey, I get a cut of this," and Todd and him had a falling out over it for a bit.
Like this was one of my favorite parts of the end of season 1. Mm-hmm. So I've missed this kind of stuff.
Oh, you're getting more PB Living, don't worry. But they Todd has a list of ideas, and I actually have his list here. Pancakes to go - Rapjacks is what he calls it.
Ooh, Rapjacks. Okay.
Spice of the Month Club. Flan cakes. Belgian Horse Circus Unicycle. Taffy Mountain. And Have Wacky Adventure. Those are the things on his list. He also mentions, why isn't there a West Dakota?
Which I really liked this exchange because he's like, what if there was a West Dakota? And Mr. Peanut Butter goes, Todd, isn't that a job for the State Department? Which absolutely that is not a job for the State Department.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Ironically, the State Department actually handles foreign affairs, not not affairs inside of the country. So I really liked. I don't know. That's such like a. It's such a particular characteristic of their relationship in that they're both so stupid that one of them can say something so incredibly dumb that the other person saying something that is also incredibly dumb but is slightly less incredibly dumb sounds like a sane response, like a smart response. Like at first when he goes, Todd, isn't that a job for the State Department? You're like, yeah, of course it's a job for the government. And then you go, hang on a second. You're not right. Like,
yeah, no, there's no one there to say that's not right.
Yeah, it's very fun. I like their dynamic.
Yes, me too. Mr. Peanut Butter bails because he's like, you know what? I'm gonna go get. I don't remember how they get there in the conversation, but he's gonna go get a massage and get pampered and get all this stuff. And Todd's left to his own devices, and he says, Todd, why don't you have one of those wacky adventures you always have? And Todd doesn't know what to do. He calls Princess Carolyn, who is basically at the altar of the wedding now, answering the phone. And she's like, don't stop on my account.
Dude, oh my God. Such a fucking bad person.
Right. My favorite part of this exchange is her asking Todd, are you high? And he goes, only the normal amount.
I like that.
But as he hangs up the phone with her, we meet Becca outside of the window, who is the chicken that escaped from the Chicken for Days truck. We cut to Diane and Irving in the car.
Mm-hmm.
And I love this exchange with Irving where Diane asks her, so what do you want to do, after school or for school? She goes, well, I want to go to Brown, and then I want to go to Yale Law, and then I want to be the youngest Supreme Court justice, or, something in marketing. which I don't know how that joke hits for a lot of people, but I literally, for my real job, I interview a lot of young people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the questions I always ask them is, hey, when you're done with high school, like, what do you want to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of times they'll say something like, just, oh, I want to be a brain surgeon, which is fine, right? That's something someone could do. But the amount of times they say something like that and then to go with, yeah, but probably something in marketing or business. And it's like, holy shit. Like, you have no idea what you're talking about, you know? And people, they say that all the time. And Diane's just kind of like, yeah, because that's how I feel when they say that shit too. And so that's a joke that maybe was written just for me.
Hey, they knew that you were going to do a podcast about this.
They knew. Is this is the point where we catch up with Officer Meow Meow Fuzzy Face.
Yes. Okay. Would you believe me if I told you this was my favorite part of the episode?
Yeah, this is the best part of the episode.
Okay, good.
Officer Meow Meow
Cool.
Fuzzy Face.
Awesome. We're on the same page.
The conversation they have later about, is he a loose cannon?
Yeah.
Or is he all the different like fucking police stereotypes, you know? I might be a cannon, but I'm not a loose cannon. That stuff's hilarious. Officer Meow Meow Fuzzy Face is one of my favorite reoccurring characters.
Oh, thank God! I want more.
And we've seen him a little bit, but this is definitely his like coming out party. This is like his.
Yeah, not to this extent.
Yeah, this episode is definitely the Officer Meow Meow Fuzzy Face show. So then we cut back to Todd.
Well, quickly, I want to do the I like the line where he's like why did the chicken we know that the chicken crossed the road.
You're right.
The only question now is why.
Yep. You're right. I forgot he saes that bit there. That's a good bit.
Yeah.
But we cut back to Todd, who let Becca take a shower. He hasn't called her Becca yet, by the way, but that's how I'm going to refer to her. But Officer Meow Meow Fuzzy Face is at the door, and Todd does some quick thinking and says, hey, this is my wife, Becca, not the chicken that's on the loose. And they use a bunch of different chicken noises to kind of because the reason he calls her Becca, she goes Becca like that, and there's just this pretty insane set of circumstances and things she says. She says book, and Todd goes, yep, she loves books, big reader, real nerd. And she goes, Becca, and he goes, back off, okay, sorry, honey. And then Officer Meow Meow Fuzzy Face goes, hold on, if you're really a nerd, who's your favorite Baroque composer? And she goes, Bach? And he goes, Bach? Not Vivaldi? You're insane! Like, and she goes, Bic? And she goes, yes, I am holding a Bic pen, but I don't see how that's relevant, Miss Chavez.
I really like
this. And he goes, Becca? And he goes, sorry, Becca. And it's just a funny-ass Looney Tunes bit, right?
Yeah.
And then they're alone, and Todd's like, hey, if anybody asks, you majored in communications USC, and you're the booking agent for Kings of Leon. And she goes, book back? And he goes, fine, you also book back, which is a joke they continue to bring back throughout the episode.
Yeah.
And then Diane and Irving show up, and because they were going there to do Diane's laundry, and they have this funny bit where Diane's trying to tell Todd, you can't do this, you're going to go to jail, this is, blah, blah, blah. And Irving goes, wow, I thought you wanted to change the world, Diane. And Diane goes, you're right. Oh, so now you're just going to listen to a teenager? Grow a spine, Diane. And Becca goes, backbone? And she goes, yeah, or a backbone. Thank you, Becca. And so it's just really funny how easy manipulated Diane is because she wants to be seen as cool. It's actually, this just clicked in my head, and the mirror relationship with Diane wanting to gain Irving's approval and Bojack wanting to gain Kelsey's approval.
I hadn't thought about that either.
Yeah, that just clicked in my head that they're basically doing the same things, right? Bojack's just a lot more obvious and desperate about it.
This episode might not be as bad as you think it is, Mike.
No, it's bad. No, I'm just kidding. It's not bad. So they go to leave, and Officer Meow Meow Fuzzy Face is still outside, and he tells him, hey, we're gonna go to the beach, and this is my maid and my daughter and my wife. You can drive, maid. And Diane's like, why am I the maid? He goes, silence, maid. And they as they leave, Meow Meow Fuzzy Face starts to put things together. Like, wait, why would they take that highway? That doesn't go to the beach. They could take this highway. Also, this pen's not a Bic.
Yeah.
And wait, Todd's Mr. Chavez's wife is a chicken. So he figures out that is in fact the chicken he's looking for. And then we cut to our good friend, newscaster extraordinaire, Tom Jumbo Grumbo, who, again, we've had some Tom Jumbo Grumbo in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been good, but again, this episode, I think he's really good.
I'm starting to see this episode maybe some possible inspiration for J. Jonah Jameson as well, and some of the stuff he says. You know,
you've said this before, and I'll be honest with you. When we're writing J. Jonah Jameson, I haven't really thought about this character, but maybe like subconsciously,
exactly. Yeah.
Some of the bits I go, okay, that's a funny bit.
Yeah.
The Randy thing I think is probably what you're referring to the most. That bit came from Jason. The whole what are we Billy? That came from Jason. So I can't. Maybe subconsciously he took that from Bojack. I don't know. I can't take credit for the Billy bit.
He also deals a lot this episode, or in this part specifically, with my ex-wife.
Yeah.
like, but you guys take the ex-wife bit or the wife bit in a different direction with, like, I definitely not trying to say like you're ripping off this with J. Jonah Jameson. I see influence, and honestly, I'd laugh harder at J. Jonah Jameson. I think it's J. Jonah Jameson goes a little bit further into my brand of humor, whereas this one stays a little pulled back still in reality.
Yeah, he's not as unhinged for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely not as unhinged.
But we get one of my favorite lines of the episode where he's talking to Michael Morgan, who is the CEO of Chicken for Days, played by Craig Kilborn, and he says, "You counted your chickens before they hatched, and now they've come home to roost." Like, just when they use all those like old ancient fucking sayings to like make a joke about like animals and stuff, it always kills me.
Yeah.
And Michael Morgan reveals that they're going to be selling full responsibility poppers.
Hey,
taking full responsibility for this incident.
Aren't these corporations so good, Mike? They get it.
Yeah.
They get it, dude.
They know. They don't. I don't want a real apology. I just want you to sell me good chicken for cheaper.
Dude, apology chicken, dude.
Yep.
Oh.
I bet apology chicken tastes better. He goes on to describe, why this chicken is a menace and something that people shouldn't interact with. And Tom says, "Sounds like my ex-wife." And then they say something else, and he goes, "I'd actually like to apologize for that joke on my ex-wife." And I love that his ex-wife Shannon is a krill.
Yeah.
Like, for some reason that just made me laugh. I don't know why. Maybe because he's like a giant fucking whale. I don't know. Like, it just made me laugh.
Is this the part? I can't remember if it's this part or one of the upcoming scenes where they're like, it's legal, so it's fine.
Yes. Yes, you're right. This is when they do that, where he says, what do you say about people saying this is like a post-apocalyptic nightmare, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, "Well, everything we're doing is FDA approved and legal." And he goes, "I have no further questions."
Yeah.
So they're in the car with Becca, and there's another book back joke. There's like 6 of them.
Yeah.
But they decide to bring Becca to Gentle Farms, which was the other chicken place that we got a commercial from earlier in the episode, because it's run by chickens. Kelsey gets a call from Officer Meow Meow Fuzzy Face saying, "Hey, your daughter and you own this car." And
a car with the re-elect Al Gore sticker on it.
And she says, "Just as relevant then as it is now." But basically, it's revealed that she's like a fugitive from the law, and so Kelsey's freaking out. Bojack is like not helping. He ordered at one point. He got a food truck of burritos for everybody, and so that ruined the set. And we kind of glossed over that because honestly, this plot point's not like super important. But then he manipulates her into letting him drive her to go save Irving. And he says the line, "Yeah, I'm calling this road trip a 007 because we are going to bond."
It's a pretty good line.
I was gonna say that at the beginning of the episode, and then I decided not to.
Before this,
but on the phone, yes, I know what you're gonna say, because on the phone, he goes, we'll bring your daughter back, dead or alive. And she goes, wait, alive, please? He goes, we're the LAPD, ma'am. We'll probably make the right call.
And it also, like, fucking great line, first of all. That only becomes more and more relevant every year after this movie comes out.
Yes, for sure.
Or movie, show. And then it gets even better because, like, before they do the whole Bojack thing, it stays with the cops as he hangs up the phone, and that's when the, like, loose cannon conversation happens.
You're right.
But that like spawns out of, he's like, let's go get him, and the chief is like, you're gonna wait for a warrant, and he goes, I hate due process. Which is great. Now this is the part that I feel is really, or one of the parts that I feel is really prescient, because like I watched a video pretty recently about all these cop shows that we watch, like Brooklyn Nine-Nine or
right.
Law and Order and all those, where they depict like due process and the way that our policing system is supposed to operate as a hindrance, as something that gets in the way of good cops doing their job, right? Mm-hmm. So like this is just such it's a line that's very, you know, it's definitely not a new idea, but for when this came out, people hadn't really caught on to like, hey, maybe cop shows aren't super depicting how our police system is supposed to work in a great way. So to have that line of like, man, I hate due process is, I really enjoyed that line.
And then they have the whole bit about whether Meow Meow Fuzzy Face is a loose cannon or he's a renegade or he's, you know, all the, and then the police chief says, put on a pot of coffee. We're going to figure this out, which is so funny. And speaking to like why it takes so long for police to arrive on the scene is because they're not going to pursue the chicken. No. They're going to figure out if he's a loose cannon or not.
Exactly. Who are you going to call when your chicken gets lost to show up 30 minutes late?
Right. Exactly. So, like we said, Bojack manipulates Kelsey into getting in the car. We end up at Gentle Farms where the guy from the commercial, played by comedian Ron Funches.
That's who it is, dude. Yeah. I was hearing the voice. I was like, who is that?
Yep. And he's talking about how they treat their chickens humane and because chickens know chickens and all that.
He's got a shotgun.
Right. Well, that's my favorite bit is they I think Todd asked, what will happen if Chicken for Days wants chicken? He goes, that chicken belongs to us now. And he has a shotgun in his hand. And they're like, whoa, where'd you get that gun? Originally or just now? Just now, that barrel. What about originally? Also that barrel. It's like, what the fuck? Such a stupid
really
bit.
Good.
And so they leave Becca with and Todd does this no, I don't want you anymore. You weren't my friends, trying to like, you know, make Becca get, and Becca's already just wandered off and falling over and not doesn't care. And then we cut to Bojack and Kelsey, and he does this thing that Bojack often does where he's like finishing a story as we cut to him. He goes, and that's the reason Drew Barrymore got sober. Yeah.
It's like, if you like True Lies or whatever, you have me to thank. And she's like, do you have to talk about yourself constantly? Like,
yeah. And the answer is yes.
Yeah, of course. He's Bojack.
And the car breaks down.
Yeah.
Because Bojack says, it's been weird ever since I hit that deer, which a little continuity.
Yeah, I noticed early on in the episode when it pans out when he's watching the ad on his tablet that the car is still broken. Like the front of the car is smashed in and there's a crack on the windshield. Mm-hmm. Should probably get that fixed.
Love that. And then we cut to the other car where they're leaving Gentle Farms, and Todd doesn't feel right about it. He says, you know, I had purpose, and now I feel like I don't. Maybe you wouldn't understand.
Damn.
And this hits Diane in a different way, and she stops the car, and she goes, okay, we're going to go get that chicken back. And he goes, all right, after that, can I have an iPad? No. Well, I really want an iPad. Maybe you wouldn't understand. Which is just Todd being so cognizant of how he just does things, which made me laugh when we were watching. So they turn around, but then we cut back to the LAPD where they've determined that Meow Meow Fuzzy Face is a loose cannon.
Yeah.
But he gets results.
I like the list here. where they were like checking off what he could be, and they've got loose cannon at the top, then too old for this shit, only had 2 check marks. The one mystery he can't solve is himself, only has 1.
Yep.
Not here for the right reasons, only has 1. He has got something to prove and nothing to lose, has 2. And then the bottom one that got crossed out is a hooker with a heart of gold.
I didn't notice that one. That's funny. So they finally are en route to intercept Becca, and we cut back to Tom on MSNBC. He starts talking about how they're en route, but then there's not a graphic, and he has this big argument with Randy about why is there not a graphic? Well, there needs to be a graphic just in case someone's tuning in. Why am I explaining this to you? We're going to a commercial break, and it's just this big blow up with Randy. Randy doesn't know how to do his job again. We cut back to Bojack and Kelsey, and they're at the side of the road, and Bojack cannot fix his car because he's an idiot. And she goes on about how she doesn't want to be an indie darling director. This was her chance. She's going to lose her daughter. She needs to make this film work because it's how she's going to pay for her daughter's schooling. And she doesn't want her daughter to be caught in the indie darling director circle, the cyclical nature of it. And as they're getting to the, Bojack still about himself, a guy pulls up and goes, "Hey, aren't you the horse from Horsing Around? And the director of women who like recycling? I'd give you guys a ride for some autographs." And Bojack's like, "Yep, right on time," because this is how Bojack's charmed life works.
Yes.
We cut back to Gentle Farms where they're trying to sneak in, and there's this funny Rube Goldberg deal where they're trying not to make noise, and it makes one thing falls, and then a tractor hits a gong that's just in the middle of the thing, and we have kind of a almost a horror, not horror, but like a thriller hiding scene where they're trying to get to Becca. They get to Becca, and they don't have a good idea which one's Becca. Except Todd finds one of the chickens, and she goes, "Todd," like that.
So, I hate to keep saying that this show is prescient because I say it a lot, but I'm going to continue to say it. The fact that Gentle Farms is probably a pretty good stand-in for PETA, right? Yeah. Which at the time of this, I don't really remember people pointing out that PETA, kind of a terrible organization, does a lot of really bad things to animals while they, espouse all the good things that, they presumably do. Mm-hmm. So for them to be like, "Hey guys, look at the truth of what these fucking organizations are," right? It seems pretty good to me. Yeah. And that's something that that's one of the twists on this kind of overdone narrative that I really enjoyed, especially for the time. Now people are a lot more willing to be like, "Hey, yeah, PETA kind of sucks," but 5 years ago, 6 years ago, definitely less so.
Yeah, for sure. And so they find Becca. They release all the chickens because Diane says they're all Becca, Todd. But they hide with Becca in like the slaughterhouse that they have, and everything's covered in blood, and it's an awful thing. So it's like you said, the twist is they do not actually take care of these chickens any better, right? Mm-hmm. It's just their marketing. And Todd kind of has a heart-to-heart with Diane in this moment where he explains to her that, Diane says she's a mess, but Todd goes, "No, you're the coolest. You get stuff done. You always have confidence in yourself." And she goes, "Is that really what you think of me?" And he's like, "Yeah, you're like Laura Croft in Diane's body," which is a very important distinction. Yeah. And as they're doing that, as the Gentle Farms people are trying to find them, Irving, who she sent away earlier to be safe with the keys, crashes the car through the barn and they.
Before that happens, the door opens up and wife of the person that runs Gentle Farms appears and is like, "Please take me with you. I hate what I do here. I can't escape.
I just want to make video games that teach kids math."
And I love that it also, the show, the episode's taking the piss out of both sides. Like you said, it also, they fucking leave her there. Yeah. This woman is clearly not in a safe, living situation, and they just do not care. They're so caught up in, we're good people. Look at what we're doing. We're saving all these chickens. Like,
and Diane's just kind of like, sorry.
They just leave her, and they also leave all those chickens. Like, those chickens run. They don't like, oh, we got to make sure that they get out of here. They just release them, and they're like, that's good enough. Like, really, I think it's very well done.
Yes, I agree. And that's a lot of what, like, Diane's character flaw is she wants to do all this good, but she doesn't really. She's a bit of a hypocrite at times.
Yeah.
So they leave, but they get stopped by the LAPD and Meow Fuzzy Face. And they get brought in, and he says this line, I hope you guys like community service. And Diane's like, I do. And he's like, oh. Like, he's sad that she likes the punishment.
Yeah. And he takes off his sunglasses, and they're like, why was he wearing sunglasses at night?
Yeah. Bojack and Kelsey show up, and Bojack, of course, because he's a celebrity, just says, hey, you know what, guys? We appreciate the slap on the wrist you're going to give my friends, but I'm a celebrity, and so you guys are just going to let this be, decided in the meaningless public court of public opinion. And he's like, I guess you are a celebrity. So, and Becca gets to go live in Drew Barrymore's frolicking meadow because she's going to pay chicken for days for Becca. And Todd's like, she has a frolicking meadow? He goes, you think Drew Barrymore doesn't have a frolicking meadow? And then Bojack's lesson of the episode is that you think things aren't about you, but really at the end of the day, they're about you all along.
Man, he's really learning.
Yep, he is. And he got everybody burritos.
Yeah, I also love when they go to pick them all up. I can't remember. Kelsey, is that her name? The director?
Yeah.
She's like, oh, what did you arrest this guy for? When she sees Todd being too cute. Yeah. She's like, I want to be in his cell. Just continuing that bit.
Right. That bit, Todd is just a lovable fool.
Yeah.
But then they're in the car eating the burrito, and they go, we really did something today. We changed things for the better. And as they say that, it pans up to a line out the door for chicken for days, and it says 6 billion served. So that's like, hey, they didn't.
You didn't do shit.
You didn't do anything. But that's the episode.
They're actually, I think it's even better than it says 6 billion served. It says 5 billion served, and we see a giraffe changing it to 6 billion served. Yep. I almost feel like the fact that, like, it's not like, oh, it was at this. It's like, no, it marches on is more poignant.
For sure. I agree. Yeah, so I guess that's the episode. We should probably get into our categories.
Categories, yeah. Mike, what was your favorite animal-based joke?
Everything was so focused on the chickens. But this one, there's not really it's not a joke because of the animal based, but I really laughed when Tom's wife was revealed to be a krill. I don't know why that got me. It just made me laugh. So I'll say that.
I'm going to say, just the idea of a giraffe being the one to change the sign.
It makes sense.
It makes sense. I really like that. Do you have a favorite like bit overall throughout the episode?
I mean, it's basically what the whole episode is based off, but the Becca chicken taking the different chicken noises as her saying different things is probably the funniest thing of the episode to me. I mean, all the LAPD stuff is really good too. So I'd say it's between those two.
I'm going to go with the LAPD stuff, but I did also really like the chicken jokes. Do you have a favorite quote from the episode? I have mine.
Go ahead.
Mine is on brand for me. I love it when Bojack just says some really on the nose shit. And he says in the car ride with Kelsey when she's like, why do you want me to like you so bad? He's like, I don't want you to like me so bad or whatever. And he's like, it's not like I'd prove to myself that my parents were wrong to never support me because I now earned the admiration of a surrogate authority figure, thus proving that I have intrinsic worth. And I love it when he just
that's a very real Bojack thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine is the 007 deal.
That's good. That's a good one.
I'm going to call this road trip 007 because we're going to bond.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right. Well,
all right.
That's it for this episode. Next episode that we're going to be covering is season 2, episode 6, Higher Love.
Man, Princess we're almost halfway through the season.
I know. It's crazy. Princess Carolyn sees an opportunity when Mr. Peanut Butter's agent dies. Bojack flips when he says the L word out loud to Wanda.
Oh, Wanda. I forgot about Wanda this episode. I also have to mention, I'm looking at Netflix right now, Mike. I see somebody in the thumbnail for this episode.
Who's that?
I see a certain Vincent Adultman.
I can neither confirm nor deny his involvement. I will say this episode we just watched had a 7.8 on IMDb. This next episode has a 7.6.
Now here's the thing. Princess Carolyn sees an opportunity when Mr. Peanut Butter's agent dies. That sounds like a fun time. Bojack flips when he says the L word out loud to Wanda. Does not sound like a fun time.
So here's the thing.
Okay.
This episode, from what I remember, is okay.
Okay.
But it does a lot of setup for the next 2 episodes, which, in my opinion, are really good.
Okay.
So especially because the next 2 episodes are called Hank After Dark and Let's Find Out. And Let's Find Out is like a top. Like if someone did, here's my tier list of every Bojack Horseman episode. Let's Find Out is an S tier episode.
Okay.
So, we'll get there when we get there. But Higher Love is the next episode we're going to cover. Yeah, I guess that does it for this episode. Shawn, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you?
You guys can follow me on Twitter at Shawn_AFK.
And you can follow me on Twitter at SpikeGhetti Bros and on twitch.tv/Super SpikeGhetti Bros. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. We will see you next week.
Oh, yeah. Suck a dick, dumb shits.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.